Okay. So, thank you so much for thanks a lot for coming. My name is Marc Eichen, and the only thing that I'll ask is, do you think I could ask you two gentlemen to sort of shift over a little bit, because otherwise I feel like my back is going to be to you the entire time. Thank you. You sure you want to stay there? Okay, fine. Okay. This is one of these sessions where John, in his wisdom, has sort of annotated the best part of the title out of the title. So even though ostensibly this is about the choice of the learning management system, it's really about value disciplines and how you align what you do in IT with the goals and the operating procedures in your particular school. And choosing the learning management system is just an example of doing that. And in my paper, in the written version of this paper, I've got how you hire staff, how you train staff as other examples of that, how you bring up a registration system, how you design an email system, all of those as examples of aligning what you do in IT with the goals and objectives of your particular institution. Okay? So, having said that, I'm Marc Eichen, and I'm the Director of Academic Technology at Suffolk. And usually what I think of what we do here at CALI is we do a couple of different things. On the one hand, we give sort of technical talks where we talk about, the latest software and how you configure things and how you write scripts for NT, et cetera, et cetera. Or we talk about administrative things. And, we talk about sort of how much security you want on your network and how you should make sure that you assure privacy to your students. So that's sort of one set of possibilities that we do at CALI. And at the same time, we talk about sort of what's new. We want to present what we're doing that's new, and we also want to reflect on what we are doing. So usually, if you sort of think of that as sort of a quadrant, I'm usually, when I talk at CALI, I'm usually in the upper left-hand version of this sort of matrix, where I'm talking about, showing and doing new things, and I'm talking rather technically about sort of what we do at Suffolk. But today, I'm in the lower right-hand quadrant, in terms of I want to reflect upon what we're doing, and I want to talk sort of administratively. And then, of course, there's the boat and the umbrella. Okay, if you haven't been on the boat and you haven't gotten your umbrella, then you can't really say that you've been to CALI. Okay, so today we're going to talk about aligning the goals of your institution with what you actually do in IT on a day-to-day basis. And the question is, how can you go about doing that? Okay. Now, one thing you could do is you could read the mission statement of your institution. Okay, and you could try to parse out, okay, how that would constrain or control or shape what you actually do in IT. Unfortunately, when I read mission statements, they're not terribly illuminating to me. As a matter of fact, in law school, if you look across, and I had an opportunity to do this, if you look across sort of a dozen mission statements from your favorite dozen institutions, okay, what you would find is that it's sort of like mission statement Mad Libs. How many people have ever heard of Mad Libs? You guys know what Mad Libs are? You must have kids, or you must have done Mad Libs when you were a kid, where, like you get a paragraph and then you sort of put in sort of words from here and words from there, That's what these mission statements feel like to me. It feels like when someone has to go out and write a mission statement, they turn to the faculty member next to them, and they say, Well, have you ever read a mission statement from somebody else? And the person says, sure, I know the one from, X or Y or Z. Let's use that one, and so they sort of put them together, So, for example, here's a mission statement that, the institutions will remain nameless to protect the unindicted, okay? And you can imagine lawyers actually writing this or law professors actually writing this. And it says, let's see, through our scholarship, research, and teaching, we seek to offer the highest standard of professional legal education, which implies that they're not doing that now. They're just seeking to do it, okay? And that we strive to be one of the leading law schools in some area, which means that they're not one of the leading law schools already, okay? And it goes on to sort of talk in very general terms about what the mission of the institution is, okay? This is a relatively short one, okay? You're getting if you read through the first couple of sentences of this one, you'll get a sense that that this mission statement is somehow related to or comes from the previous one, okay? This one's got something about diversity and technological dependent society, and it's one of the largest law schools in the country. And then we get sort of one that seems to go on for even longer, right? And it talks about a diverse community and how they train lawyers, and that they work with government units. And so, just for fun, I put together one that I took sort of pieces from every mission statement that I read, and I found out that it wasn't any less coherent, okay, than the ones that I read that were real mission statements. So obviously there's sort of a problem if you are trying to align what you do in IT using your institution's mission statement. You're not going to be able to do that, okay? Doesn't matter what institution that you are. And that's not to say that mission statements aren't worthwhile. They are worthwhile, but they just really can't tell you sort of what to do in terms of sort of your IT program. What I'd like to suggest as an alternative is that there's a series of well-known articles in the business literature which talk about 3 value disciplines. And the source of these articles are Tresh and Wiersma. This is quite a well-known research program within business. And what Tresh and Wiersma say is that any company, okay, that wants to succeed in retail, and I suggest to you that IT is a retail business within academics. Any company that wants to succeed in retail will succeed by choosing and excelling at 1 or 2 of these 3 value disciplines. And in fact, Tresh and Wiersma suggests that if you were a manager and you were trained in one of these 3 value disciplines, you could move to a different industry and feel completely comfortable as long as the company that you went to also pursued the same value discipline as the company that you came from. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that in order to be successful, you have to identify which of these 3 value disciplines your school pursues, and you have to align IT with that value discipline. Okay. So the first one, operational excellence. Hey, what is operational excellence? A company that pursues operational excellence is going to provide consumers, users, faculty members, and students, okay, with products at the lowest possible cost. Okay? It's going to provide its users, its consumers, okay, with a standardized product line. Okay? What you get is a series of standardized products. Okay? Not too much product differentiation. Okay? It's, if you want the car, you can have it in any color as long as it's black. Okay? That's the model. of an operationally excellent company. Products need to be highly reliable because they don't want to take products back. The idea is to pursue convenience as the highest model. Okay? These companies want to deliver this service with the minimum interaction of their customers. They want it to be convenient, convenient, convenient. And employees in these companies happen to work easily as a team. They're not expected to be highly creative. They're expected to work as part of the machine. Okay, universities that pursue a strategy of operational excellence tend to be large state universities. Okay, they tend to offer courses with minimal hassle and at the lowest possible cost. The idea is that with a large state university, you're going to want to offer a course, okay, the same course, right, to a lot of students all at once. You're not going to want to tailor the offerings of a particular course to an individual student or individual faculty needs. Now, IT departments that pursue operational excellence are departments that see computing as a utility. They offer a very homogeneous set of services. Whatever it is you happen to want, as long as we offer it to you, that's what you get. Okay? All the courses that are rolled out tend to look and feel the same. There's a minimum of customization. An example of a company that pursues operational excellence is Dell. Dell is sort of the operationally excellence model. Okay? You get a limited number of configurations. The configurations don't change too often. As long as you want a notebook computer, there's 4 or 5 of them. Okay? And Dell is going to make it easy for you to buy from them. The second value discipline is customer intimacy. Okay, customer intimacy, companies often tailor what they sell to you based on individual needs. They want to have a relationship with you. They want to offer as much services to you as they possibly can based on them knowing exactly what you need. Exactly what you need. The products that they offer are very diversified and they're very customized. Okay? They want to know better what you need than you do. Okay? Customer intimate companies tend to pursue a very high level of intimacy with their customers. The sales staff in the field, the people that actually deal with customers, right, are supposed to be very knowledgeable about those customer needs, and they're supposed to tailor the customer needs specifically to what the customers want. Okay? Universities that pursue customer intimacy as a discipline tend to offer educational programs that are tailored specifically to individual students. So if you're a math major at one of these universities and you decide that for your senior project you want to write a project about witchcraft, okay, your faculty member, your advisor, will get you, right, someone who knows enough about witchcraft so they can read your senior paper. I'm not making this up. Okay, I happen to have one of my best friends, okay, went to Harvard, was a math major, okay, and decided that he wanted to do his senior paper on witchcraft, and his advisor actually did get him a reader for that paper without batting an eyelash. Okay, so these firms really do exist, okay, and these academic institutions really do exist. IT staffs that pursue a discipline of customer intimacy will see computing as valet service. Okay? Directors in these organizations, in these IT organizations, will anticipate the needs of faculty members regardless of what those needs are, and will try to meet those needs regardless of what those needs are. So if a faculty member says to you, you know, I would really like to do distance learning from the inside of the trunk of my car, okay, you as an IT director will say, well, will that be the Buick or will that be the Toyota? And it's no problem because we're going to help you do that. Whatever it is, we're there, right, to help you do it. An example of a company that pursues customer intimacy is IBM. IBM is famous for customer intimacy, particularly large-scale systems. Okay? They will tailor the needs of, they will tailor that system to exactly what you need. They will tailor that system to meet your needs even before you speak your needs. Okay, third one, product leadership. Okay, product leadership, companies that pursue the discipline of product leadership tend to be cutting edge. Okay, they want to offer cutting edge products. They want to encourage creativity among their staff. They want to encourage their staff to think out of the box, to develop solutions that are unique and bring these solutions to market. Educational institutions that pursue product leadership hire faculty that are at the cutting edge and encourage those faculty to create solutions and to spin them off. Okay, an example of an educational institution that pursues product leadership is obviously Caltech and MIT. Those are sort of the paradigm places. An example of companies that pursue product leadership, right, are Johnson & Johnson and 3M. The famous sticky note issue, where, you know, people develop sticky notes on their own. 3M said, great, you know, it belongs to us and we're going to make millions on this. IT departments that pursue the discipline of product leadership tend to offer bleeding edge solutions to their faculty. Bleeding edge solutions. The idea is that they can put those solutions out there without a commitment to continuing them forever. They can make them available with the notion that just because we provide them to you today, that doesn't mean that we're going to continue to provide them forever. Okay, so the critical question is that if your mission statement if your mission statement won't help you decide what kind of department, what kind of institution you're in, okay, how can you figure it out? Because the risk of choosing incorrectly among these, of not aligning with what your institution wants, is that you will not get faculty support. You will not get administrative support. So you need to pick the right value discipline, regardless of which one it is. Okay. Operational excellence. Standard products with no problem. Okay. If you can imagine, do a thought experiment with me. I'll take your question in a second. Okay. If you can imagine having this conversation, okay, of saying to your faculty, here's the short list of services, of software, of hardware that we provide. Okay? And if what you want isn't on that short list, we're not going to provide it for you. If that's going to fly in your environment, then you might be able to be in an environment which is supporting operational excellence. If you can imagine having a conversation with the dean, where you go to the dean and you say to her, you know, Dean, Professor X wants this particular unique solution, and it's not in the set of solutions that we provide. And the dean will say to you, well, then just tell him that, we don't provide it, okay, then you're in a situation where the institution supports operational excellence. I'll take your question, yes. That's a very good question. I think, surely, yeah. The question is, do you see these three disciplines as mutually exclusive? Okay? The literature, the business literature suggests that you can do one, okay, and be very good at it. You can do two and be really, really good at it, but you cannot do all three. Okay? And I'll talk about that in a few minutes, okay, why I think that's true. Now, what would happen how would you imagine an environment where you were in a customer intimate environment? Okay? So we know what it might sound like to be in an operationally excellent environment. What would a customer intimate environment sound like? Okay? First of all, as a director, okay, you would know exactly what every faculty member wants and needs if you were in a customer intimate environment. You would know better what they need than they do. Okay? When a new rev of software comes out that someone has asked you about, an outlining product, for example, a plagiarism protection product, you would be on the phone with the faculty member before they could call you. And you would say, Professor Smith, I know that you were interested in an outlining product for your class that you could customize, et cetera, et cetera. I just wanted you to know that I've seen this and maybe you ought to try it. Okay? That's an example of customer intimate experience. Second one is that we're purchasing the interplanetary transporter for Professor X so he can deliver distance learning from the inside of the trunk of his car. Okay? And I'm being facetious, of course, but really the issue is, regardless of cost, okay, if you can imagine going to the dean and saying, we're spending a lot of money in order to support this one faculty member at with a unique application, and the dean saying to you, that's exactly what I want you to do, Mark, okay, then you're in a customer intimate environment. Now, what about the third one, product leadership? Leading edge with no guarantees. Okay. If you can imagine developing your own application, regardless of the cost of that application, if you can imagine going to the faculty or the administration in your law school and saying, people have asked me for a Facebook. We don't have a Facebook and a seating chart, but we're going to develop it ourselves, and we're going to spend $60,000 in order to do that. And the dean and the faculty say, that's exactly what we want you to do. That is a product leadership environment. If you can imagine saying to a faculty member, I know that you've spent, 10,000 hours over the summer, okay, doing something with a particular application, but we're not going to support it in 6 months. And the faculty member saying to you, well, I understand that, it just didn't work out. Okay? That's an example of a product leadership environment where there's no guarantee of continued support. No guarantee of continued support. Now, in the paper that I've actually written, there's actually a written paper that sort of goes with this. I talk about sort of hiring decisions, and I talk about putting up particular systems, including the learning management system. And the reason why I think that you cannot pursue all three disciplines at once is because the people that you are likely to hire who will feel comfortable and work well, okay, are very unlikely to have all three of these skills. The people that you are likely to hire to do well in an operationally excellent environment want to design and build and roll out systems that are easy to use, that are backroom systems, okay, that have sort of no hassle and very little interaction with the consumers, okay? The people that you are likely to hire who like working in a customer intimate environment, okay, are people who, want to get to know the users very, very well. They want to like sit in the user's face and, you know, like talk to them directly, want to be in their offices, you know, want to like find out about their families, you know, like want to understand what they do in class, want to like sit through a class so they know how they use technology. Okay? People who do A are not going to want to do B. Those backroom folks, right, are not going to be wanting to have lunch with faculty members. Okay? The same thing is true for C, product leadership. Okay? The people who want to roll out new things, right, regardless of sort of the pain and strain of rolling out new software and hardware, okay, who want to be on the cutting edge, who want to roll out sort of the latest thing in Unix and put it on people's desktops, okay, and don't care if the systems crash and burn, okay, because that's just part of the process, you know. Those folks, okay, they're not going to want to do A, okay, because the systems that roll out are going to have all sorts of lumps and bumps, and they're certainly not going to want to do B because it's too like touchy, feely, mushy, gushy, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, in my written paper, I talk about that, okay? I believe that it is a good environment, but I think that what will happen as a director is that you will have to begin to make choices. You may have all three of those folks, but you're not going to make all three of those groups of people happy. When you start investing in sort of heavy-duty user services, so you get to be customer intimate with your faculty members, the product leadership folks are going to be unhappy. They're going to say, why can't you get me these tools? Why can't you spend more money on X? You know, why are you cutting back my budget for this wonderful project that I think we should roll out? Okay? So I think that inevitably you're going to have to make those kind of choices. Okay? So I don't think that you can do three, and that's what the business literature suggests. Okay? I think you can do one for sure. And I think you probably can do two, whatever combination of two that you want, right? But I don't think that you can do three. Okay, and this sort of answers your question. Okay, at Suffolk, what was my strategy, and how did we pursue it? First of all, I believe that at Suffolk, faculty members in particular, want two things. They want two things. One is that they want operational excellence. They want the systems to run like water. Okay? They want the internet connections in the classrooms to work. They want the podiums to work flawlessly. Okay? And I felt that we had to do that before we did anything else. Before any other systems rolled out, we had to make sure that what we did would work flawlessly. Okay? So, we have a fully rolled out network. We have a Microsoft backend. Okay? We have notebook computing based on XP Pro. We deliver software to our students, Microsoft Suite, including OneNote. We use semantic antivirus. OneNote is it's a Microsoft Office add-on that is basically an outliner. Okay? It's a new. It is for the students to use, right? And it works very, very well with notebook computing, and it works very well with tablet computing. Okay.
We have the same.
Mm-hmm. Right. And where are you?
I'm in Nami.
Great. And we also are putting in edge protection devices, which means that when a student comes into our network, they will plug into our network. If they don't have patches and updates, we will force them to do that to XP. And if they don't have the latest and greatest virus definition files, we will force them to get those. They won't get on our network without them. there are devices out there that I can tell you about, okay, that will basically scan the machine when they plug into our network. Okay? There's at least 3 of them that I know of, and I'll tell you about them after. Okay? So the first thing that we did, we have a rolled out infrastructure, we have network computing, and all our classrooms look and feel alike. Okay? The reason we have that is so that if faculty members, we train faculty members in one environment, okay, they can move to another environment. Any classroom is the same. The second thing that we did, so once we had operational excellence, okay, we moved to customer intimacy. Okay? And we advertise and we train every faculty member individually. I train every faculty member individually. Me, myself, and I. We have 63 full-time faculty members. We have about the same number of adjuncts. I spend a lot of time working with the new faculty members as they come in because it's really a small handful of people every year, you know. And I train adjuncts as they ask for training, okay? But they get trained by me, okay? The reason that I do that is because, first of all, I want to have a personal relationship with the faculty. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know their subject area. I want to know their computing needs. I want to know their style of teaching. I want them to feel like they can call me directly. Okay, they're not going to get somebody else. They're going to get me. Okay. We trained every secretary, individually and personally. I trained them. Okay. The reason that I did that is because faculty members are going to rely on their secretaries. Okay. If their secretaries are smart, if their secretaries are technologically knowledgeable and comfortable, then the likelihood of those faculty members pushing up the chain into my staff and saying, I can't do X, I can't do Y, is much less. So if the secretaries can help them, that's where we want them to be. Now, that's why we happened to choose Blackboard, okay, as the learning management system. Okay? The reason that we chose Blackboard were because, number one is that it ran like water. Okay? It ran in our environment. Okay? It was operationally excellent in our environment. Okay? For us, it ran on a Microsoft back end, and it ran with MS SQL. Okay? I didn't want to have to think about, well, is the Blackboard system up and running? Can we back it up? What are the operational issues? I wanted to plug it in, and I wanted to put the courses on it. Okay? The second thing we did is we loaded every single course into Blackboard. Every single faculty member and every single student. The idea was that when faculty members came in at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the semester, all of that was going to be loaded. They weren't going to have to ask us to do that. Okay? So that's the operational excellence piece of Blackboard. The second thing that we did is we did the customer intimacy piece of Blackboard. We started to ask people, okay, now that you've got Blackboard up and running, okay, how would you like us to configure it? What do you want to add to it that we don't have? So we're adding a glossary to Blackboard based on people's requests. We're adding what's up so that both students and faculty know as something is added to a Blackboard site on all their courses. Okay. We're adding portfolios under consideration to Blackboard. We record MP3. We record classes in MP3, and we load them onto Blackboard. Okay, that means that any faculty member who says, you know, some students in my class are going to be out for religious holidays or for some other reason, okay, we say it's no big deal. Put this microphone on. We'll convert your class into MP3. It'll be on Blackboard. If you have a class in the morning, it'll be on Blackboard at the end of the day because we record directly into MP3. And we're looking at full class recordings. That includes sort of anything that's written down on the podium, anything that happens in class. We've had some requests for that, not a whole lot of requests, but we're looking into it with Silicon Chalk. I suggest to you that at Suffolk at least, faculty members, and that's the biggest constituency, that is the constituency, okay? They want operational excellence and they want customer intimacy. At Suffolk at least, they don't want cutting edge. And that's been a successful strategy for us. A successful strategy. Questions? By now you're so blasted. It's Friday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. Questions? Where did I fail? Where do we fail? Where did we fail? Differently. No. It's a very good question. I think I haven't been able to convince the dean to say to faculty members, if you're going to have a class, you must have it on Blackboard. So we have a handful, right? A handful of faculty members that have their stuff on TWEN. We have a small handful. We're talking about like a half a dozen, okay? I have worked hard on those faculty, okay? I'm sort of doing everything I can to move their stuff over to Blackboard, and we have the usual resistance. I have my stuff on TWEN. I've always had my stuff on TWEN. I'm going to keep my stuff on TWEN. I like TWEN. I've used TWEN, et cetera, et cetera. But I haven't gotten the administrative oomph to say to those faculty members, no. Like, if it's going to be an electronic course, it's going to be in Blackboard. I consider that, sort of an issue. Well, I guess, I feel like I'm in those faculty member space. I'm doing everything I possibly can. I say to them, literally, tell me what I need to do. We'll move your stuff. You don't have to know anything. We'll take it and move it. I think it's like, it's the, faculty members are like, it's herding cats, and sometimes people just resist because they say, I'm a contrarian guy, you can't make me, and, I'm going my own way. That's just the nature of the beast. But I am very intimate with those people also, and so I'm still working hard on them, Gentlemen. When you say significantly functional, you mean what percentage of them have courses up on Blackboard? Well, let me respond to that by asking you a question. We have a faculty member who's head of a regional bar association, okay? When I go to see her, I say, I'm not going to tell you her real name. I'm going to say, Joan, do you have your classes up in Blackboard? She said, absolutely, I absolutely do. I say to her, do you use Blackboard? She says, no, I don't do that. I say, why not? She said, because my secretary does it all for me, okay? I say to her, wouldn't you like to use it more? Wouldn't you like to be more involved with that? She says, Mark, I have a family. I've got this job. I'm the head of a regional bar association. I only have, 80 hours during the week, So would I consider that person using it? I would consider that person using it to the extent to which they feel that they have the time to use it. So I think that person is in, They're not resistant, certainly, Would I like them to use it more? Absolutely. But I feel it's okay. If they want to have their secretary do it, and I happen to know that their secretary is extremely competent, I'm comfortable with that. Does that answer your question? I would say if that's true, then we probably, I'm making this up, 60% of our faculty, at least, between 60 and 70%, And then we have people who probably 10% of our faculty who are not going to ever use it, and we've got 20% of our faculty that are totally pushing the envelope. You know, are saying like, I want to use it for X, I want to use it for Y, I want to use it for Z. You know, can you do this? Can you do that? So that's kind of the mix. Does that answer? The latter being the people who are pushing the envelope. They want to use it to put up. They want to use it to put up film clips. Okay, we hear a lot about that. You know, they have MP3s up. Okay, but they want to. You know, they want to take a 5-minute snap of of Law and Order, and they want to say, tell me the 25 ethical improprieties in this snap. You know, I want those people to do that because I believe strongly that if I can deliver that to students 24/7, 365, I think that's a really good thing. Okay, we've got faculty who want to use it for short answer exams. Okay, they want to give bar questions in it that are associated with their class. Okay, that's something that we have been able to do and we do. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that people who are sort of pushing the envelope are doing. Sir.
Can you give us a few more?
Sure. Sure. I can. My feeling is that this is a very competitive market for Blackboard. I talked to the Blackboard folks, and before I came to Suffolk, I was at LIU, and we chose WebCT. Okay, and I know those very, very well. I know Moodle less well, which is a freeware product. Okay, and of course I know TWEN and Lexis. Okay, so let me compare those products. Okay, first of all, I think that if the issue is I don't want to spend any money on this at all. I want to spend. I went to the dean, and the dean says, you know what? Don't spend any cash on this at all. You're cash poor as a department. Okay? Then I think that you have three choices. You either go with Moodle, which is a freeware product, okay, or TWEN or Lexis. Okay? The issue with TWEN and Lexis, as I'm sure you know, is that some faculty members prefer Westlaw and some prefer Lexis, and never the twain will meet. Okay? And so if you have that environment, I think that they sort of cancel each other out, even though they're free. Okay? You want to try to pick a system where all the courses are loaded into a single system. Okay? Because, number one, it'll be much more convenient for your students, and number two is that you will develop support around that particular system. Okay, it's crucial. So I think if it's no money, okay, I would go with, and you have a heterogeneous faculty, I would go with Moodle. Okay? I think that Blackboard and WebCT are the head-to-head competitors. Okay? Right now, when we chose WebCT, it was the dominant product. Right now, I think Blackboard is the dominant product. Okay? The upside of Blackboard, what I consider to be the upside, is that number one is that it is, in our environment, it does run, it is operationally excellent. We haven't had any issues. It runs like water. The thing never goes down. You know, I never even have to think about that. Okay? The other thing that Blackboard does, and now WebCT does, is that they have an API. So if there's services that you need to provide to your faculty that are not already bundled, or that a third party has not bundled, okay, then it is possible, although expensive, to go out there and add functionality to the product. And I think that's absolutely crucial if you're going to do customer intimacy or if you're going to do product leadership. Does that answer? Yeah.
We clearly serve a student.
Yeah, I think we are desperados to put in the edge solutions. Okay, I went to a demo with our network services guys. Okay, and we looked at sort of two edge solutions. And I'm not going to. If you send me an email, I'll send you the two products back because I can't quote them off the top of my head. Okay, but what basically they did is they said you can run what you want on your notebook computers, but okay, the IT department is going to be able to set base level requirements. Okay, we're going to set base level requirements. We're going to require that you have XP Pro. Okay, we're going to require that you have semantic. Okay, and as you said, Pablo, the reason that we require it is because unless we put those things aside, in the operational excellence part, we won't be able to, when a student comes in and says, I can't figure out how to do something else, there won't be enough time to sort of work with them. So that's how, we're desperados for those edge solutions. We think it's sort of part of being able to be customer, being able to do operational excellence and move on to sort of intimacy with the students. I think that's where we are. But I think you're right, shrinking resources, definitely. Yes, sir.
You talked about the
Yes.
how did you
There was a couple of ways. First of all, Suffolk is made up of 3 schools. Okay, so there's, in addition to the law school, there's the business school, and there's the College of Arts and Sciences, the undergraduates. There was 2 sets of committees. Okay, one was sort of among the computing directors in the 3 units, plus faculty in the 3 units. And we decided as a group that we would use Blackboard, right? And each one of us would get a unique implementation of Blackboard. So we're all running our sort of own flavor of Blackboard. Okay. In addition, the law school reviewed the decision to implement Blackboard this past year and to upgrade Blackboard. So there was a faculty committee in the law school to do that. Okay. So there was sort of these multiple sort of committees going on. Okay, so that sort of was the process. I engineered it in the sense that I said I felt like in order to do what we wanted to do, we needed a product that all the faculty members could potentially use and that we could have in-house. I didn't want an ASP product because my experience with ASP products is that you never have the customer service. Unless your staff actually can get in and do system-level things on that box, okay, you will not be able to service the customers. People will be unhappy. Okay, so I felt like that, even though Blackboard runs both as an ASP, and there was some conversation about doing that, as an in-house and as an in-house application, I very much felt like we needed to have an in-house application. Yes.
everybody?
Yes, we did. We did do that at the university level as well. Right, yeah, that's right. I felt like, quite honestly, my experience is very mixed with those kind of demos, because it depends upon the salesperson that shows up, how prepared they are, how well they know your environment. There's all sorts of fluky things that can happen, And I must be quite honest with you, I was not happy with the Blackboard demo. We went back to Blackboard and we said, you're going to bring in somebody else and do this again, because it's too fluky, you can have a great salesperson and they'll make the sale right there, or you can have somebody who's like, thinking about sort of, what they're going to do that evening, and, you could blow it all. So I'm very wary about those one-time sales, pitches, Does that explain?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm very large.
Yeah.
Is to
Evaluate.
whole,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you have any advice.
Yeah. I would like to talk to you about that offline because that's a very extensive conversation. And also, in the footnotes of my paper, there are several sources online that are good comparative sources for sort of, how you compare these products. What are the different features that you can look to compare them, okay? So I'd be happy to do that, so stick around. Yes, sir?
One question about what
No, it's data tell.
data.
Yes.
Okay, when you
Yes, we have, actually. The student information system is at Suffolk is DataTel. It services all the units. Okay, so it's a central resource. Okay, I would answer this question differently if I was in the college versus being in the law school. Okay, in the law school, the kind of integration, the level of integration that I think we need is daily integration during the period in which students add and drop courses, which is a very compressed period for us. It's only about a week, okay? Now, that means that when a student adds and drops a course, they won't see that change in Blackboard until the next business day. Yes? That's right, okay? No, until the next business day. So, in other words, if it's Tuesday and I'm a student, I add a course, I drop a course, that'll appear on Wednesday, okay, in my Blackboard list of Blackboard courses. Okay, it won't be instantaneous, but it'll be 24 hours later. Okay, I think that's suitable in the law school, number one, because we don't have that many adds and drops. Okay, and number two is that the students, that's their expectation, that within 24 hours is adequate. Okay. If I was answering that question for the college, okay, for undergraduate population where people are adding and dropping all the time, radically, throughout the semester, okay, I would say that there needs to be real-time integration with Blackboard. So when a student goes into the student information system and drops a course and adds another course, okay, that will show up instantaneously in their Blackboard courses. Okay, so I think it's a little different for us, but it's a choice. Blackboard offers integration, both real-time integration and sort of automated batch integration, if you will.
yeah,
We don't have that experience at Suffolk, right? But what would happen, right, if that was true at Suffolk, they would be on two different Blackboard systems. We don't have that experience. Our law students never take undergraduate courses, okay? The undergraduates never take graduate courses. So we're not in that situation, okay? I think if we were in that situation, there is an implementation of Blackboard where the registration materials are on one server, right? But the content is on separate servers, and so the law school can control the content, and the central administration would control the registration. Okay. My pleasure. Any other questions, issues? Yes, sir. I do. I think that each of these systems, right, will do well both augmenting course material and courses that are available on-site and courses that are offered totally at a distance. Okay? So my experience is that the functionality that you need to do both is so similar at this point that any one of these systems, especially the big players, WebCT and Blackboard will be absolutely good at doing both of those. I can't answer that for WebCT. It is true that for Blackboard, they count the FTEs. And if you have, and there's a fairly complicated formula for doing that. So if you have a certain number of students that are in distance mode and they're only taking 1 or 2 credits, then you can add them sort of summatively, right, and get your FTEs. That's how they price this. Yes. Does that?
I have some.
I think that's a good question. I think Blackboard is priced summatively, so and most law schools will fall in the low price band in Blackboard. Most law schools will. Okay, Suffolk is a very large law school, 1,600 full-time students. Okay, and we easily, I think the lower price band is 25. It's either 2,000 or 2,500 students. Alumni basically ride for free. Questions? Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I've looked at it also, and I think it is for what it does. If there's only a small number of courses, yeah, I agree that it's. Yeah. Yep. I think that's. My experience is that with Moodle is that it's because it's a freeware product. It's a little flakier than some of these other products. And so it made me very nervous. As when I looked at it for LIU, I said to myself, I got to have this product up and running. I don't want faculty members calling me up at 4:30 in the morning and saying it's not cooking.
We haven't had to go there.
Yeah. 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 Right. Good. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Stick around. I'll tell you the process.
I'll probably send an email.
An email? Sure.
on the next grade.